You felt it this morning. Someone was looking at you. You turned and they were. You have never once been wrong. Not once. Think about what just happened. You were not looking at them. Your eyes were somewhere else. You had no visual information. None. And yet something in you knew. That's not intuition. That's not luck. Scientists have a name for it. And what they found, we'll get there in about 4 minutes, will change how you read every room. But first, you need to understand something. Why does this feeling exist at all? Because it didn't start with you. It started long before you were born, much longer. There is a word for this, scopaesthesia. It describes something every human feels by age 4, without exception. The sense of being watched, no evidence, no reason, just the feeling and then the confirmation. In 2013, Risko at the University of Waterloo published a study in consciousness and cognition on gaze detection across social species. His team ran 78 participants. Each one sat with their back turned to another person. No sounds, no mirrors, no glass. The task was simple. Feel when the other person starts looking. At the back of your head, the accuracy rate was 71%. Not a guess. Not chance. 71% with zero sensory data. Think about what that number means. More than 2 out of 3 times with your back turned, you know. Risko didn't call it mystical. He called it a hypersensitive detection system running in the background of your mind, something you cannot turn off, even when you try. Think about the last room you entered, any room. You felt something before you saw anything, before a face, before a sound. Your body had already decided. Already scanned, already ranked the space. You did it this morning, before your coffee, before a single word was spoken. You walked in and already knew who was in a bad mood, who was watching the door, who wanted something from you. You didn't analyze that. You just knew. That's not emotional intelligence, that's scopaesthesia, running on autopilot. Since before you had words for it, you've been carrying this system your whole life. You just didn't know it had a name. But that's only half the story. And what comes next is stranger. And what this says about you, specifically about you, is something most people aren't ready for. And this system doesn't just detect gazes. It changes who you trust in a room, who you avoid before they speak, who makes you uneasy before they've done anything. Running since you were 4 years old, shaping every social decision you've made. We'll get there. But first, you need to understand what happens inside your brain in the 70 milliseconds before you turn around. Your brain has a structure. It's called the superior temporal sulcus. Most people have never heard of it, but it is firing right now as you watch this. The superior temporal sulcus processes social cues, voices, expressions, movement. But its oldest function, the one that predates language, is gaze direction detection. In 2003, Aina, Puce and Martin Perrett at the University of St. Andrews published findings in Nature Review's Neuroscience. They found this region activates 70 milliseconds before conscious awareness. 70 milliseconds. Faster than a camera shutter. Faster than the gap between a string vibrating and you hearing the note. Your brain knows someone is looking at you before you are awake to the information. And you don't feel it and then react. You react and then feel it. The sensation arrives after the body has moved. You think you noticed, but something else did, something older. Here's what's even stranger. In those 70 milliseconds, your brain isn't just detecting direction, it's scanning pupil dilation at 3 meters, micro shifts in posture, changes in breathing rhythm around you. It processes all of that before you've consciously looked. And here's the part nobody tells you. This same system fires when someone looks at a photograph of you, when someone reads your name out loud. In a room you're not in. You cannot observe any of that. But your nervous system responds as if a threat has entered your perimeter. And it might be the strangest part. But here's what all of this leads to. Here's the answer you've been waiting for. The one nobody has ever given you. So here's the answer. The one we promised you 4 minutes ago. Why do you feel someone watching you when there's no possible way you could know? The answer is this. You are not detecting a gaze. You are detecting a probability. Your brain runs a constant simulation of every social environment you're in, every second. It tracks micro movements, shifts in ambient sound, temperature gradients near skin, changes in the air pressure around faces. It runs all of this through a survival model built over 2 million years. Think of it like sonar, not sound social data. Your brain pings the environment 14 times per second. It reads the angle of a head at 6 meters. The stillness that precedes a stare, the way a room goes quieter when attention shifts toward you. You don't hear that consciously. But the system does? It files a report every 14 seconds without asking your permission. And when enough variables align, it issues a signal, not a thought, not a guess, a physiological alarm, the hairs on your neck, the pull to turn. The answer is probability. But what makes this truly strange is that the model is almost always right, because it was trained on something you no longer remember every time you didn't turn, and you were being watched. And something bad happened. Your ancestors who felt this survived. The ones who ignored it did not. You are the result of every human who turned around in time. Do you understand what that means? You are not paranoid. You are ancient. This feeling you've dismissed as irrational, this quiet, embarrassing sense of exposure, is the most field-tested survival mechanism your species ever built. We thought self-awareness was progress. But here's what we built it on. The terror of being seen too early. But what if the real problem isn't that you feel watched, but that you've forgotten what to do when the feeling is right? Here's what nobody talks about. In the modern world, you are watched constantly. Cameras, algorithms, screens, strangers scrolling past your face right now. And your brain, that same ancient system, cannot tell the difference. It fires for a CCTV lens, it fires for a notification, it fires when someone likes a post you forgot you made. In 2021, Sophie Wolchen and Thalia Wheatley at Dartmouth College published research in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences. They found something simple and devastating. When two people talk, really talk, their pupils synchronize. They rise and fall together. Shared attention, shared rhythm. But the moment eye contact is made, the synchrony breaks. The system that reads gazes cannot handle direct input. It overloads, it resets. Now think about your day. Cameras, algorithms, screens, strangers scrolling past your face right now. Notifications firing every few minutes, each one hitting the same circuit, each one triggering a micro reset. Your brain cannot distinguish. A CCTV lens fires the same response as a predator's stare. A notification fires it. A stranger liking a post you forgot you made fires it. The system begins to misfire, not more often, not less, randomly. You feel watched when you're not, and you stop noticing when you are. The system that kept your ancestors alive is being jammed by the world you built. You walk into a meeting, you feel eyes that aren't there, you post something online and feel nothing while thousands of real people look at your face. You have inverted the warning system. And that low-level exposure you carry everywhere, too visible and invisible at once, that is not anxiety. That is a very old alarm. Going off in a building it was never designed for. You have 200 of these misfires before noon, every day, and you've learned to call that normal. But here's what that costs you. Every misfire drains something. Not energy, not attention, something older, the calibration. When the system misfires too often, it stops being useful, like a smoke alarm that goes off for toast. You stop hearing it, you stop trusting it, you walk past the real fire, and that's where you are now. Most of you, living in a permanent state of low-grade social noise, feeling vaguely watched, vaguely exposed, all the time, by nothing specific, by everything. Your ancestors had one predator at a time. You have 10,000 faces before lunch. The system was never built for this, and nobody told you it was breaking. You started this video feeling something. That pull, that certainty, someone was looking at you, and you knew. Now you know what that knowing is. It's not a sixth sense. It's not instinct in the soft, romantic sense. It's the distilled experience of every human being who ever stood at a forest's edge and needed to know before anything moved whether to run. That feeling is 2 million years old, and it still works, even now. In glass offices, in subway cars, in the quiet of a room where the only threat is being misunderstood. It still works. The question isn't whether to trust it. The question is, what do you do when it goes off in a room where there's nothing to run from? If that question stays with you, subscribe. That's exactly what this channel is for.